Hello. Wow,
Yes, we are live.
That was a really breathy entrance. Let me try that again. Howdy. Welcome to Office Hours FM, episode number 92. We're going to get a treat for y'all today because, well, Mendel Kurland's on the show. Hey, Mendel, how you doing?
Woo! Yeah. I'm doing awesome. I'm so excited.
I love it
to be on Office Hours.
I love it. I love it. I've been trying to get you on here for upwards of 3 or 4 years, and you're just now finally making it for an appearance. So I'm thrilled to have you for an hour.
Must have gotten lost with the receptionist or something.
Oh, it's possible. It's possible. All right. So before we get diving in, and you share all of your tremendous inspiration, which I'm looking forward to. I wanted to thank our site sponsor for this episode. It is SiteLock. They are a global leader in business website security solutions. And they are like the place to go basically for WordPress and security. They are going to be out at WordCamp Miami this week, or this weekend. So if you are going to WordCamp Miami, are you going to there, Mendel?
Oh, I'll be there.
Oh, you're at every WordCamp. Well, go up to the SiteLock table, tell them hello, and that you heard about it on Office Hours FM, and that would be peachy.
Wait, can I add something to that?
Please do.
Go up and give them a big old hug. Just a big old bear hug. Whoever it is, just embrace that person and make them feel loved.
Make them feel loved, but maybe not. We don't want the WordCamp police coming because
Well, be cautious hug, you know.
Yeah, keep it not creepy. Anyways, SiteLock people, get ready because you may be getting some hugs. So if you've got shy people, tell them to hide when they see Mendel coming. All right. So on today's episode, where our overarching theme for this season is growing your business skills, and Mendel is going to be chatting about building on your successes. And before we dive into that, even, I will say, if you have questions, you can ask them over on Twitter at #OfficeFM or on Google with the Q&A app if you're watching over on Google+. I'm going to open that right now so I can see it. Okay, Mendel, for folks that haven't been to a WordCamp, because, if they've been to a WordCamp, they've met you, surely. So for folks that haven't been to a WordCamp and met you, would you introduce yourself?
I would be happy to. Is this introducing myself like Saturday Night Live style in mid-90s, or is this? I'll quit being goofy, Carrie.
Well, I was going to say if we could go around 98, 99, that era.
So I'm Mendel. I work for GoDaddy. I'm in charge of all of our in-person interaction with the WordPress and other technical communities. So it also encompasses, JavaScript or Drupal or whatever community we really need to spend some more time hanging out and learning from and giving back to. That's what I do.
You guys are incredible. Well, I'm gonna say GoDaddy's incredible for hiring you, but you yourself are an incredible human, and y'all do so very much for the WordPress community. It's awesome, and you always bring a little halo of light and joy around you, and sometimes a party bus. So, thanks for bringing it on the show.
Well, thank you.
Oh,
I didn't bring the party bus on the show, by the way. I'm stationary right now.
Well, yeah. You can only limits, right, when you're indoors. So you actually proposed the topic for this episode. I would love to hear a little bit of background of why you wanted to speak on building on your successes.
Great question, Carrie. So, I proposed it because I've had so many conversations with friends and colleagues and people in the community and just people all over. And they say to me, Mendel, how did you get this dream job? Because a lot of people say, oh, well, it's a dream job to fly around the world and hang out with geeks for a living, and drink beer with them. And it really is. And I always try to explain to them that I built this, just the same way that entrepreneurs build their businesses, in the same way that people build buildings. I mean, all of these things start somewhere.
Did you build it on rock and roll?
Always. Well, the city is built on rock and roll. But yeah, so I've had these conversations, and sometimes these friends of mine will be real downtrodden, and they'll say, "Oh my God, I can't do this," or I don't know where to even go to start my business. I have this crazy idea. I want to quit my job, and I'm like, well, just do it, and I'll give you the first step, and then you just need to keep doing it. And so when you asked me what I wanted to talk about, I was like, man, this has been a real passion point for me, whether it's somebody trying to get into another vertical or profession or something like that, or something adjacent to what they're doing now, or whether it's somebody trying to build their career or become a better developer or whatever. There's this mentality of just stacking skills. So, oh.
Here we are. I like it. It's like little Lego blocks of skills and success.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've already got the comments rolling in by the thousands on Twitter. How cool you are.
Oh, wow. That's unexpected, but thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And when I say thousands, I might have meant
I think there's
hundreds. Or I could be exaggerating. So you hear, I guess are you like the counselor? Like you hear everybody's problems when you go to WordCamp, or not problems, but they're spilling their guts to you.
Yeah. I've been in the entrepreneurial business for quite a while, and so has the company I work for and the company I represent. And so I think a lot of these people, especially small business owners who are building things for other small business owners, in particular, they seek me out and they say, "Hey, Mendel, you have all of this information. Let me spill some of that over." And I'm like, it's partially information, but it's just experience. It's having been in the foxhole and having to deal with some of the struggles that come with starting and running a business that I really kind of feel for other people. So I think they see that, and I'm also approachable. I have a beard and a big loud voice that makes other people feel like they can be loud and rambunctious, and so they just seek me out.
Awesome. And for those of you who are listening to this show and not seeing it, Mendel is presently drinking out of a mason jar the size of his head, which is very cool.
Yes, I am.
Yes. So where did this entrepreneurial kind of passion start for you in your career?
Well, I'll try and give you the abbreviated version. But in 2000, I left home, graduated high school, and I went on a quest, like many kids do, to completely be their own person in the world. And that resulted in a few things. One, discovering beer. Two, going to some classes and realizing I could order pizza at 4 a.m. And 3, going and seeing that I could actually make money and provide value to people on the open market. And so the bug first bit me about 2 or 3 years in, when I stopped going to class and instead started programming a website that had drink specials and house parties and sports scores and movie listings, which became very popular. So I started going to class less, and it became more popular. And then I started selling advertising to the businesses that I was promoting, to get people into their bar on a Tuesday afternoon when nobody was there. And that, so one of the first people, locally to be selling ads online at that time. And then that slowly spiraled into, hey, what can I do to help you next? And so that was a whole suite of promotional things, but it was also websites at a time when websites were frankly a pretty hard sell. And so that was, that was the first real professional one. There was obviously stuff when I was a kid where I was, just hacking away at figuring out how to make some cash in high school, but anyway, that's kind of how it all started and kind of spiraled out of control from there.
Did it spiral out of control, or did it stack into your current success?
Well, that's true. Yeah. So, I want to tell us. Can I tell a story?
Please.
I want to tell a story. Okay. So, a while after I started this business, I ended up closing it. My dad was a school administrator at the time, and so education was a big deal to him. And he said, "Mendel, go to school and stop it with that other stuff." And so I stopped, but I did things, both things, kind of half-heartedly. And I killed the business, and I failed out of school. And what resulted was all of these web clients that then I was using to support myself and to to make money, to pay rent, all those things. And a buddy came to me and he said, "Hey, Mendel, I've got an idea." He said, "What if you got a real job?" And I said, "Well, I like my job. It's like great because I just sit at coffee shops all day and I get super wired and I make websites for people, and sometimes they crash and then I have to fix them, and then I make more money, and it's great." And he said, "Yeah, but it occurs to me that your income isn't super consistent." And at that point, he kind of saw more in my situation than I saw. And so I decided to take a leap of faith and say, okay. And so I went to apply for a job at a regional music company. Well, it's a national institutional music company called West Music. And I applied for a job called the web producer. And I happened to do some searching before I came on the show. And I found the resume that I originally submitted for that job. And my relevant work experience, I listed about 5 different websites that I created, and that I was a co-founder and owner of UI Life, with roles including sales and marketing, team management, event promotion, and advertising creation and distribution. And then I went up and looked at the developer stuff that I put my own company. Okay, I put my own company in there and said things, roles including development, marketing, graphic design, application development, all the things that you do when you start an entrepreneurial business. And that was it. I had some education on there and tons of skills. And I took this resume and I got the job. And then I was eventually promoted to the director of web development there. Do you want to know why I told you that story?
I do.
Okay. So
don't leave me hanging.
Yeah. So the reason I'm telling you that is because when I think about getting that job, doing something, because a lot of my friends are working in corporate America, or are interested in not working in corporate America. There's always some shade of that. And what I did is I took something that I created, right? I just started putting drink specials on a website, and then I started marketing for businesses, and then I started doing their websites. And all of a sudden I had these skills that I built up over time. And I went to this other company and I said, I have all these skills. I packaged it right. But I brought all of that to this other company and said, I have all these skills. And that, without a degree, was where my career in corporate America started. And in a similar way, it's where my career in more advanced websites could have started as well, because I had this path that could have diverged into two places, going harder into web development or going into corporate America. So I guess it's kind of a lesson in starting and building and being able to create your own success.
I dig it. That's a fantastic story. And now I really want to go dig up my first resume.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking of, resume over, each successive resume, you put, new things on there that you've learned from whatever the last role is. And yeah, it might seem sort of insignificant, or like, I didn't really learn too much. But then when you go to actually think about what the things are that you've, the skill sets that you've gotten, those add up. That's cool.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you. Actually, Jackie has a question for you.
Cool.
So she talks about stacking skills and finding your passion. Any advice on identifying your niche and cherry picking your skills to focus on that? Great question.
It's a good question. My answer is simply do what you love. Become very proficient, become a master, and then become extraordinary. And marry that up with industries, marry that up with specialties and things like that. But the reality is, it's funny, I'm writing an article right now on stacking. When you stack skills or when you stack habits, you build up this muscle that then you can take to the same industry, and instead of thinking about the operation or the specific tactics, you can think about the creative parts that distinguish you from other people in that field, which helps you become truly extraordinary. So I would say go after what you love, because you'll love repeating those tasks and getting better at it. And then all of a sudden, I think you'll just naturally, by taking those opportunities, come into that role. So
your first website that you started with the drink specials, did you do that because you were just wanting to keep track of drink specials, or did the bars actually contact you and say, "Hey, we're looking for somebody to do this"?
No, it's funny. I didn't even really care about the specials. My friends did, but I thought it was really fun because it was an opportunity for me to talk to the bar owner, which at that time was like a big deal. It was like, oh my gosh, I know all the bar owners in town. And then after that, from talking with them, I'd pick up on things. They'd say, yeah, we have drink specials on Monday and Tuesday. And I would say, well, what about Thursday? And they said, no, we don't have drink specials on Thursday. It's a good day for us. So then I got to thinking, oh, well, let's, once I had this drink special thing down, oh, maybe we should do promotions for them on Monday and Tuesday to bring them business. So then I go back to them and I'd say, well, if I can bring you X amount of business, will you give me half the door? And some of those ended up being, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 ventures on a Monday night because we were just bringing them business. So
that's excellent, because I mean, what you're talking about, you can apply to any sort of work with customers or clients, and that's kind of looking beyond necessarily what they're even talking about or need on the surface, and putting on your creative cap and finding ways to help them out that they hadn't even thought about, and then benefit yourself in the process. Very nice.
Yeah. One thing I'll say about that, though, is if you're going in, I used to be real nervous when I went in to talk to a client for the first time, when I went in to pitch a client, and I kept pitching clients, and I kept doing that over and over and over again. And I had kind of a routine. So I had made the routine a very automatic thing. So I wasn't nervous when I walked in. I knew what I was going to say. I knew how that conversation was going to go. And then I could separate all of that. And while they were giving their responses, I could listen to what they were saying and analyze that and then change direction of where I was going with the pitch. The difference is when I was nervous, I wasn't capable of listening to what they were saying because I was so focused on the fact that I was nervous. And so this is where creating good habits and habits that you can stack really makes a difference. Because if you make that great habit of that pitch, then you get to be the one with the edge that goes in and is able to listen and then close the deal as a result.
So would you write your pitch down or practice it out loud, or what was the habits that you were forming around that?
I would just go and pitch as many people as possible. So I didn't care what the business was. There was this place called the Ped Mall in Iowa City where
That sounds like a place you would not want to take your children.
Ped, short for pedestrian.
For clarifying.
And I would kind of go door to door. I might buy something there, and while I was checking out, show them that I was valuable to their business, and while I was checking out, would say, "Hey, by the way, what's your website address?" And they would say, "Oh, yeah, we've been trying to get one of those together for a while." Oh, interesting. Is there somebody I could talk to about that? And so I would put myself in that uncomfortable situation every single time until then I could just walk in anywhere and say, "Hey, I'd like to speak with your manager, please." Like very straightforward, very to the point. Pitch some very, bigger and bigger businesses. So just practice, just doing it, just getting out there, and don't even write it down. Who cares about writing? You're gonna read it off a piece of paper? Come on.
I just meant to kind of get the words, maybe some of the language that you wanted to use in the when you were making your pitch.
Yeah.
Not that you're going to read it off a crib sheet.
Yeah.
Mendel.
Yeah. No, that part's fine. Sure. But yeah, don't go in there.
I'd like to talk to you. Where was I? Oh, I washed my hands. Actually, my hands.
I am Mendel. I'm Mendel.
We got a question from Devinder. Going back to WordCamps and folks talking to you, he said, or asked, what are the biggest pain points discussed by small business folks in these WordCamp interactions?
I think that a lot of it is repetitive tasks or problems that can be solved with vendors that typically work with larger businesses, or business vendors that don't supply what they need specifically, or supply it with them in mind. I'll give you a great example. Credit card processor. I have had conversations with credit card processors independently to try and take credit cards back when Stripe and PayPal and all those things didn't exist. And I tried taking payments, or I tried setting it up, and there was a gateway fee, and then there was an internet fee, and then there was not good clarification on the API and all this stuff. That's a great older example. A newer example is things that aren't integrated. So one pain point that we found at GoDaddy, can I talk about that? Is that all right? I just don't want to.
I have to submit a sponsorship invoice if you talk about them. Have at it.
So one of the things that we did some kind of qualitative research and found out that people that build websites for other people struggle with things as simple as your client bought a domain name and you have to figure out now how to access that domain name. And so a lot of the times this ends up with like a username and password that you're handing somebody, which is not good, right? For everybody on this, do not write down usernames and passwords. Or maybe they don't have a domain name yet. And so you buy, jillscandystore.com for Jill, and then you don't know what to do with it. It really should be hers. She should own it, but now you're putting it in your own account. Anyway, this was messy. And so that's what we solved with this GoDaddy Pro thing. And it's just a way to connect those things. And I hear those issues all the time. I get the pleasure of bringing that back to product teams because I work for a company that has, the ability to move the needle on some of that stuff. So yeah.
Well, it's like you were reading Devinder's mind, because he had a follow-up question. He said, any major changes in GoDaddy's product or service offerings as a result of the feedback that you've been able to bring to them from the streets?
Yeah. That I feel that song, like Taking It to the Streets, is like in the back of my head.
Taking it to the streets.
Don't make me start. I'll go get my guitar. You
We
don't
will
want
sing
that
on this show.
Yeah, in fact, that's pretty much where all of our product changes are coming from now. That we used to kind of say that, and we used to kind of guess for the most part on what our customers needed. Now we're doing less guessing and more asking. That's part of my job. That's part of what the product people are doing. There's like a customer council that they convene to ask customers that are doing this sort of business what they need. And so all of our product features and things are really informed by customers. I mean, how else are you going to make products that customers care about, right?
Truth. Hashtag truth right there. Great question from Damien. He says, I am 4 days into working for myself. Congratulations.
Sweet.
After 15 years of building software for someone else, I know my product, knows the product well. Where I'm weak is the business and contract side of things. Do you have any advice or services you would recommend to help out in that area?
Yeah, a couple pieces of advice. Number one, read all that you can. It used to be that you had to have some sort of degree to do business the right way or to do a contract the right way. These things are online. They're available. It also used to be that if you download a contract from an example site or something like that, there was a strong possibility it was worthless. Now there's so much good information out there. The other thing I'll say is just ask somebody or hire somebody that knows what they're doing. There's no shame in that, and you can consider that an additional operating expense. It's not going to scale in the same way. You're not going to increase that expense at the same rate that you are your new business. So go out and find some more clients to pay for it. Or if you're not charging enough, ask Chris Lemma what he thinks about not charging enough, and pay for it. But it's good to have a solid foundation, solid business foundation. And if you don't know how to do it, just find somebody that does and work with them.
And Damien, not to do shameless self-promotion, which I'm apparently not afraid to do. The previous episodes in 2016 for this show we've had some great talks on writing contracts and proposals, sort of the legal side of firing up your business. Here before too long, we're going to have somebody on to talk about kind of the financial aspects of running a business. But yeah, great. In addition to reading, you can listen. You can listen about these things.
Yes, I meant to listen and read, consume content on the internet related.
Yes, that's interesting that you talk about outsourcing or hiring someone to kind of do that sales or contract piece. Is that what you were suggesting?
Yeah, I've worked on a couple startups, and I've done this type of work on my own, and Lord knows I've bumped into a ton of entrepreneurs who have been doing this sort of work. And if you're good at it, you're good at it. And if you're not, or you don't enjoy it, you're just not. And you can try and force yourself to be good at it. But at the end of the day, if it's not what you love to do and you really love just making websites, then do that. And if you love selling, find somebody else to make the websites. It's I think that's pretty important to play to your strengths and just go full tilt at that.
I would agree with most definitely playing to your strengths. Well, as a business owner, I'm kind of tripping over myself, but as a small business owner or operator, you have to wear a ton of hats.
Yeah.
At some level, you've got to have your fingers and toes in the sales process, the production process, the contract and legal, the finance. You've got to have some working knowledge of it all, because you can't, you're not really in business for yourself if you're outsourcing your entire entire operations of your business. But that said, I've realized through the course of my contracting that I've narrowed my services over the years to things that I'm really good at, and either found people to partner with to do the things I wasn't so good at, or just tell clients straight up, hey, you're gonna have to hire somebody else for that piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I think it's partnership. I think it's so I didn't mean to give the impression that you should just outsource it and forget about it.
Oh, I wouldn't putting those words in your mouth. I was just riffing.
Yes, partnership, an advising situation. For instance, I'm never going to be good. I've taken accounting classes and gotten A's in them, but I'm never going to be good at accounting. I'm just not. I hate it. It's not fun for me. It is fun for me to look at, ROI or, things like that, or margin and stuff, because that's fun. But as far as the ledger, I don't care. And I don't want to care. So I guess what I'm saying is, if there's a piece of it that you don't care about, so you're inevitably going to screw it up, then get somebody to help you. That doesn't mean just forget about it and not care what your P&L is and all of that. That's absolutely what you need to be focused on as a business owner too. So
I appreciate your clarification on that point, because I thought you just were giving everybody terrible advice.
That was pretty good. I almost spit that on my computer.
Spit out of your giant mason jar. Mendel, I love you. So you talk about partnerships and partnering up with people. We've had lots of folks, lots of listeners ask in the past about kind of what's the right way to go about finding someone to partner with. Like, maybe a really obvious example is, I'm a developer and I need a designer to partner up with. When you're interacting with, your Rolodex must be just massive from all of your WordCamps, but do you have any advice on finding people, finding good matches to work with?
I sway very far towards relationships. That to me is more important than anything. And so if I were to go out right now and start a business, the first place I would go before I even started the business would be to community meetups and events and things like that. By the way, most of these are free. I would go to small business meetups. I would ask people, other small business owners, about how they get these tasks done and how they've met people. At the end of the day, you want to work with somebody that you trust and that you can rely on, and that is intelligent in the places that you need them to be. And that you're both kind of really digging on the idea of success, and so the only way you can really find those things out quickly, in my opinion, is just throw yourself into a situation where there's a massive amount of people, and just pick through those relationships and find the best ones, which, by the way, is good life advice too. don't have relationships with people that suck, and do have relationships with people that are great, right? It's so do the same in business.
I love it. What was I it just fell out of my. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. I distract myself. It doesn't take much. So going out there, kind of throwing yourself into these uncomfortable situations, or throwing yourself at a group of people to get to know them or whatnot. What about the introvert, which a lot of us are?
Yeah, do it online. Find communities online. They exist. They're neighborhood communities. If you if you're really stressed out about it, if you're really an introvert, I have those friends as well. Turns out, because I'm an extrovert, I tend to attract introverted friends as well. Find an extrovert that you're friends with and ask them to go with you and help them, or help you. I have friends, all the time, whether it's a business thing or a dating thing or whatever. They'll say, "Hey, Mendel, can you come with me and just hang out, and we're going to do this together." So find a partner, and it doesn't matter if they're even interested. Tell them you'll buy them a beer or something like that, or take them out to lunch, and just do it. Go out there with them, but grab a buddy.
I like that idea as well. Yeah. Pair up with somebody who will take care of a little bit of the uncomfortableness for you. Mendel, you should have a column in the paper. A little people can ask you questions, and every Sunday you write your answer, and there's a little picture of you.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, we just started to go awkward on that, so I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna stop it.
By the way, hey, I have a question for you.
Bring it on.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
All right, here it goes. What do the marks on your sweatshirt signify? Because you have it looks like maybe you were in jail for a while and you've marked that, or
I was preparing myself for like an actual deep question, or something that was going to require some brutal honesty from me. But no, this is at Pressnomics a few years ago. Not Pressnomics, excuse me, Beach Press. A few years ago, it was in the Portland area, and the Rogue Brewery is also up there. Whenever I travel, I love stopping by and touring craft breweries. And it happened to be so cold in their brewery that I went straight into their gift shop and found this clearanced sweatshirt, and yeah, immediately partook of it. And it was their 25th anniversary, so these are marking off their 25 years. So
that's business advice for everybody listening. Make it really cold in your brewery, and Carrie will definitely buy a sweatshirt.
Yeah, that's how you sell your product, right? Create dire circumstances. All right, we're a little over the halfway mark. If you've got questions for Mendel, we're talking about building on your business successes. You can ask us questions at #OfficeFM on Twitter or over on the Google Q&A app. I did want to thank our sponsor, SiteLock. It's a website security management plugin, and that you use for WordPress, and it really takes care of pretty much keeping your site squeaky clean and protected. And they also do this thing with PCI compliance. So if you're running like an e-commerce store and need to make sure that your PCI P's and Q's are dotted and crossed, I got that all wrong. Check that out. They are offering a 30% discount to Office Hours FM listeners. You can check that out at cdils.me/go-sitelock. So go and check that out. Okay, we've got some more questions rolling in. Mendel, are you ready to do this?
I'm so ready.
Okay, let's go. So Joe Casabona asks, how do I get people to care about my product? I'm good at making stuff, but take a very, if you build it, they will come approach. I know there are great benefits to in-person workshops, but I'm having a hard time finding the right audience.
Yeah. So if you build it, they will come. I love that, by the way, because I'm from Iowa. So that's amazing. Field of Dreams reference there.
I'm thinking about corn stalks and shoeless Joe Jackson now.
um, I would amend that statement and say, if you build it for them, they will come. And so I would first take a look at the product and see if it was actually built with anybody in mind, or if it was something that was just super cool. You wanted to build something super cool. Those are sellable too. I guess I would put products into three basic categories: things that are built, purpose built for people, things that are built or purpose built for what a visionary or a futurist believes people will want. And then there's this third category of things that were just pretty damn cool, and so you decided to create it. If it's any of the other two, so if it's you're a futurist and you've created something that you think people will like, or it's something pretty damn cool, that's going to be a pretty big sales job to convince people that it makes sense to use the product. If it's something that was built specifically with people in mind, it's going to be much easier. Still going to have to tell them about it, but I think it'll be something that people will really just flock to because there's a need. So I would evaluate why you made the product in the first place, and then go from there.
If you built it for them, they will come.
Yes.
Well, you hear people talking about personas, and especially when architecting a new website, that you're thinking about exactly who your customer is, down to the crazy details of what imaginary cars they might drive and the color of their hair, which I don't quite get all that, but definitely to the point of having a customer or a type of customer in mind when you're building stuff. So Joe, pretty much you're just going to have to scrap whatever you've got and start over. Sorry, buddy.
Joe.
Damien says, thanks for the responses. I'll go back and listen to the past episodes. I've always worked well with clients. That said, I know I will eventually probably run into a client from, yes, I do know. And at what point would you cut a client loose? Damien, we could probably spend a whole episode talking about this one. But Mendel, I'll let you shoot first.
I've always been really bad at this. I've gotten better over time, but I've always been really bad at this. And I was horrible. I would let clients go on forever when, back in the day when I started my business. At this point, I would say when the cost of doing business is too high, meaning you should know how much time it will take, how much money you're going to make per hour or per unit or whatever. And you should know how much future business that client has in potential. And if the headache has gotten so big that it kind of overflows that it's more than that amount, then I would say drop it. So if there is more cost than money coming in, or potential money coming in, then just go.
Drop it like it's hot.
Yeah.
Drop it like it's hot. I would add to that one way. I mean, look, there are going to be some bad ones that slip through the cracks, but improve your screening process of if Michael Port has a book called Book Yourself Solid, and he talks about this idea of a red velvet rope. So imagine you're standing in line for the Grammys or something, and only certain people get past that red velvet rope. And you're saying, you define who that ideal client or ideal project, those things are, and then you don't let just anybody that has money come through the gate there. A question from let's see. Well, we've got some great questions. I'm going to ask Paul's favorite band or musician to work. Oh, okay. Like if you're rocking out while you're working, favorite band or musician.
Oh, that's a funny one. Actually, when I'm working, I listen to Deep Concentration on Spotify.
I'm a Deep Focus channel.
Or Deep Focus, yeah, Deep Focus, Deep Concentration. When I really want to get amped up, it's usually like techno party music. I guess I just said that publicly, so that sucks. But there it is.
You did. Thankfully, this podcast doesn't have global popularity yet, so not the entire world can hear.
When I'm hanging with friends, though, it's like more like folky rock, bluegrass, rock and roll. Anyway, I'm trying to redeem myself. It's not going to happen. So
yeah, we're just going to have to let that one go. Question: what's that?
What about you? I'm curious.
Well, actually, I like silence. If I'm, I don't know. It's just I seem to, if I'm having to do a lot of thinking, which unfortunately I have to do a lot of every day, I find that actually quiet or that deep focus channel on Spotify is very helpful. Sometimes a little bit of classical music, but if Mozart starts coming out like that really is jarring to me. I can't problem solve to that. So there you have it, the randoms. Paul, I hope we answered your questions, your curiosities. So Jackie has a question. She says, I'm a big fan of being authentic. When you're just starting out, can you talk about how you can leverage that to your advantage? And I'm going to tack on a little bit of extra of my own thought to that, which is when you're just starting out and maybe not very confident in yourself, maybe it's tempting to not be authentic, or maybe to play at things that your strengths that you don't quite have. So how about authenticity?
Authenticity comes from confidence, I think. It also comes from confidence in believing you can do what you say you're going to do, but also confidence in and in feeling comfortable in your physical space and your mental space, all those things. A trick that I use is that I used to pick and still do, even for some meetings that make me a little uneasy. I'll pick comfortable places. So places that make me comfortable, where I'm in control. I'm familiar with that place. Or I'm in a comfortable, as silly as it sounds, I'm in a comfortable shirt. I haven't tried to, I don't wear suits and ties. So, being true to that, and wearing what's comfortable, that tends to help me sometimes too. So I would say setting the mood of your life around that experience can sometimes help. As far as not believing or not feeling comfortable with your skills and abilities, I'm going to appeal to you right now and say you should, because whatever you're feeling uncomfortable about, you're probably wrong. You should feel good about it, and you should feel like you can do it, because you can and you will.
I like it. So carrying on in that vein, what about honesty to clients? Like, oh, I missed that deadline is going to sail by, or those sorts of.
Yeah, tell them soon. Tell them honestly. Some people don't tell somebody until the last minute. This happens in every organization, in every small business. Rip the Band-Aid off and tell them. But when you tell them how it's going to be solved, right? So if you're going to miss a deadline, we're going to miss this deadline, but here's what we're doing to make sure that the things that would cause you heartache or hardship are solved or fixed. And this other stuff is going to happen afterwards, but it will get it done by this additional date. And this is why it will be done by that additional date. So I think that's the best way.
Communicate early and often. Just like you should save documents where your Word documents and commit your code and communicate with clients. It's all, there's a thread, really.
Yeah.
I might have that one a little bit then. So Devender wants to know if a successful solopreneur gets a lucrative full-time job offer in a similar industry, would you pick or pass? What sort of insights would you have there to make that decision?
So I would take the same stance that I would take with a client that is being horrible, and that is look at the cost benefit. So if you're being offered a job and your projections for your business over the next 5 years are X, and the amount that you're going to make and the amount that you're going to grow and the amount of benefits are larger with that job, then take the job. But if you believe that your growth opportunities, your skill growth and your ability to make money and support yourself is going to increase at a quicker rate, then small business is inherently risky. So keep making a bet on that risk. You already started.
Yes, and everybody can afford to take risks differently depending on where you are in life, your age, your responsibilities, your family, those sorts of things.
Yeah. But that comes down to if things are equal, right? Then all of a sudden you have to ask yourself, how risk averse am I? But if they're not equal, then in my mind, there's no reason not to take the risk.
So switching gears slightly, I am getting schooled majorly on Twitter for attributing that little da-da-da-da to Mozart. It was Beethoven. So Phil and Paul.
Oh no!
I have just now you know. Now you know that I don't know squat about
people are listening.
Music. I know. You can tune in here for nerd advice and some good business tips, but do not tune into this podcast ever in hopes of learning something about classical music, other than is a Beethoven thing.
Was that more than 3 seconds? You're gonna have to license that now.
Oh crap! Oh, okay. Well, again, it's a good thing that this podcast hadn't hit the big time yet. Maybe nobody will. The agents won't notice. We've got about 5 minutes left here together. So if you're listening live and have a question you want to get into Mendel, now is the time to do it. In the meantime, Mendel, what are you most looking forward to right now?
Boy, that's funny. I guess I'll give you professional. I'll give you personal. I'm really looking forward to just a crazy year of going deeper into the connections that I've made, that our company has made in the WordPress community in particular, and just spending some more quality time learning about some of those needs, but then also just meeting more people. So if you happen to see me, walk up to me, give me a high five, introduce yourself.
Does it have to be a high five, or can they give you the big hug?
Hug's cool. Okay. I will promise you that I will be louder than you. So I will be the embarrassing one, not you. It'll be great. Personally, I'm just really excited to spend time with friends that I've made and continue to make in Austin. I moved here 2 years ago, so really love this place and just love exploring. So yeah.
Awesome. Damien asked if we are both attending WordCamp Miami, and I will not be there, but Mendel's beard will be there. and on all of him, really, his full self and his beard. Okay, well, Mendel, nobody has any more questions for you, so we can just totally talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Man, that's awesome.
Is there anything that you wanted to say on this episode that we haven't asked the right question yet to get that answer?
Boy, well, I just I'm going to show you something, even though there's really no reason to show it to you because we've already talked about it. But I printed out pictures of brains just for our conversation, but there's no need for that. I guess a couple shameless plugs. One, the reason why I have the opportunity to come on shows like this, and the reason why I get to fly around the world and hang out with people in the developer, design, entrepreneurial community is because of GoDaddy. And so there's a bunch of cool content on the GoDaddy Garage. You can Google that. It's rad content about everything from design to development to WordPress to small business stuff and just everything in between. And then my website is mendel.me, and I'm going to be publishing an article focused on developers and how to level up your development game, but it also applies to every other form of leveling up. And it actually talks about habit stacking and this idea that creating habits allows you to be truly extraordinary, or stacking habits allows you to be truly extraordinary. So go and check that out.
I was going to ask where people could follow up with you online, and you just sort of put it out there before I could ask.
Yeah, well, I'm just wild like that.
You're on the Twitters as well.
Oh, I am on the Twitters, yeah. If you will it. Because, you see, I believe that if you will it, it is no dream.
If you will it, it will come.
We could do that one too. That's a weird, twisted version of that one, but it's cool. It's cool. I like it.
Oh, well, we've got one more question we're going to get to, but first, if you enjoyed this episode and would like to be reminded of next week's episode, just head on over to officehours.fm/subscribe, and you can get on the newsletter where I send you a weekly piece of love mail. Okay. Paul wants to know favorite team, any sport.
Always has been the Minnesota Twins during the era of Kirby Puckett, because that is where I've eaten the most ice cream out of upside down baseball hats. So that is the answer to that. I also wanted to say to Carrie, thank you so much for being you and putting these podcasts out there, and just the general love that you give to the community, because you give a lot. And this is like a highlight of probably 2016 being on Office Hours. So
shoot, you're making me blush. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And thank you as well to SiteLock for sponsoring this episode. Don't forget, you can get 30% off services at cdills.me/go-SiteLock. And when you're at WordCamp Miami, remember big bear hugs for all the sponsors. I'm sure they will love that. And they'll probably give you t-shirts to stop hugging them. So with that, folks, we will sign off. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. And thanks so much, Mendel, for coming on. You were always a pleasure to chat with.
It's been a pleasure.